let's try and dissect the conventional fossil fuel and the transition into the geothermal energy. Now, what is fossil fuel itself? It is the remains of dead plants and animals that is being converted into crude oil by pressure, time, and heat over a long period of time. We're talking of millions of years. Now, trying to transit into the geothermal energy. Geothermal energy. Let's dissect geothermal energy. Geo itself means the earth, thermal means heat, while energy means power, which is ability to do work. Now, when we are trying to say geothermal energy, we are trying to say the ability of the the ability of leveraging on the heat of the earth to work. Now, for a very long time, major countries actually depend on the traditional petroleum. It has always been like that from inception. But now the world is now trying to transit and is now trying to move into what we call renewable energy. Now, renewable energy, I think we have types. We have the solar, we have the wind, we have the hydropower, and as well we have the geothermal energy. They are leading countries in all of this. Now, let's try to bring all of this into what is currently happening in the world, which is the war currently happening in the Middle East. Now, the Middle East countries are the Asian countries, which are the Saudi Arabia, the Qatar, the UAE, Bahrain, Iraq, Iran, and all of it. Now, in the Middle East, we have exportation and as well importation of crude oil going on in the Middle East. Now, there is in the sea in the Middle East, there's a place we call the Straits of Hormuz. I think that Strait of Hormuz is just a 3 kilometer between two countries, but also it's the main passage in which every other country tends to export their crude oil from. We're talking of over millions of barrels of oil per day. Now, the Strait of Hormuz is actually sharing a border with Iran. Now, since every other country are fighting Iran and Iran are fighting other countries, if Iran tends to put a blockage to the Strait of Hormuz, now countries will be affected. It is either they are getting back at war with Iran. I know when you use war to fight war, the war is going to escalate. That's one. Now, secondly, how they will be affected is that the economy of countries will be affected. We have countries that, for example, China will be affected because China depends on petroleum for some of its activities. India as well will be affected. People will lose their job because when you don't have crude oil to carry out production, people tend to lose their job. That's part of it. We have countries like Japan as well who will tend to lose their job. Even some parts of Europe like Germany and France will also be affected. You have economy going down, you have investments going down. So I think it's not going to be favorable when when the distribution of petroleum is being altered, that is not getting to where it is supposed to get to. Now, why I'm trying to bring in geothermal energy into this is that if you have a country that is not so reliant on the traditional petroleum, having a country that is not so reliant on the traditional petroleum, that is a country, okay, let's say a country that depends on the traditional, on the conventional geothermal energy. For example, now a country like Iceland that uses the heat beneath the subsurface to power homes and office. Mostly 100% of the operations in Iceland is done from geothermal energy. Most of the energy is carried out from geothermal energy. I think this is like a wake-up call. This is like an awareness that over reliance on the traditional petroleum might and could one day be a disaster. So I think this is high time countries try to take the geothermal energy serious like they haven't. I think if your production of geothermal energy is around 20%, you should be thinking of 60 to 70%. At least there shouldn't be so much reliance on the traditional petroleum. So I feel this is a wake-up call for countries that over-reliance on the traditional petroleum could be a disaster one day. So it's a wake-up call for you to start transitioning into what we call the renewable energy. And part of the renewable energy I will solely recommend is the geothermal energy. Thank you.